Good morning, students. In today's lecture, I'll be telling you all on the aspect of essentials of business communication, oral and written, and a very interesting topic that is non-verbal communication. Often in uh, today's scenario, or not only in today's scenario, uh, non-verbal communication has played its role from the past. If you take, for example, about your ancestors who do not know the language applicability, the way or the methodology of communication is by using the non-verbal communication, using your hands, using your gestures, using your eye contact, and using your momentum. Non-verbal communication is basically all about how well you are going to perceive or actually understand the basic essence of non-verbal cues given by your bodily expressions and by your facial expressions and all. So, just as the communication is going to delineate its definition, having a strong communication skill is essential in building both personal and professional relationships. There are two predominant types of communication, that is, your verbal communication and your non-verbal communication. Well, most of us are aware and are use verbal communication on regular basis. Non-verbal communication is most commonly used in intentional. That means we are not going to use it with an intention purpose. We do it unintentionally, or at times it happens that we make some kind of a movement by our bodily expressions and by our facial expressions that it automatically communicates a thing. Making a frown, making faces, making gestures, doing all kind of things with your hands and all are all the part and parcel of your non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication is going to transfer the information through the use of your body language, include your eye contact, your facial expressions, your gestures, and many more things. Now, what are those many more things? Many more things include your color, your artifacts, your things, your the way you carry yourself, and all the things combined together. Verbal communication, as you all know, I have been telling you that verbal communication is being divided into the two parts, that is your oral communication and your written communication. But as when I was telling you about the types of communication, when we have discussed the aspect of non-verbal cues or the non-verbal communication, I told you that it is something related to when you do not speak or utter a kind of a word. Like in all the pictures shown in your particular slide, no one is communicating anything. They are using their gestures, yeah, they're using their momentums and all to communicate a feeling which is there into the mind of the people. Culture plays a very important role in non-verbal communication. Yes, culture is going to play a very important role in non-verbal communication because just by a change in your culture, say for instance, you are going to meet a Japanese for a very first time. The very first thing which you are going to do as an Indian is folding your hand together and doing namaste. But does your Japanese actually know this art? No. And say, for instance, if you are a thorough professional and you try to move your hand towards him, he will think that you are coming in position of attacking and he may counter react accordingly. So, what you have to do is you need to bow in front of him. You need to actually give him respect and bow your head in front of him. This is the cultural ambiguity of Japanese. In the similar manner, doing all those type of things which your culture depicts. That means doing your adab and doing your namaste, doing your bowing aspect and all. This all are part and parcel of your non-verbal cues only. because every culture has its own way and its own methodology of communicating. uh, in this sense, learning is not dependent upon the verbal communication. So does it actually means that in order to have a complete knowledge of communication, you need to learn the uh, cultural aspect? Yes, you actually need to learn the cultural aspect, because by the end of the day, whatever you are doing to make someone understand your feelings. Now, say for example, at in Dubai or in Gulf countries, they do not have your tradition of talking to the women's. So in India, when you eat, say for example, you go to your colleague's house and you eat a very palatable food, you often tend to say that it is being cooked marvelously to the lady of the house. But the similar thing, which if you go in Dubai or in other Gulf countries where there is a where there is a prohibition on talking to the women, and you try to communicate to the person, so they will feel very offended. You need not to do these type of activities. You need to learn the cultural ambiguity of the things. So now, this was about your nonverbal cues. Let us come upon the importance of nonverbal cues or nonverbal communications. Now, how does a nonverbal communication really going to create an impact in your life? The very first thing, it conveys empathy and emotions. Now, just by putting a hand onto the shoulder of your friend in time of crisis is going to denote that really you are with him, really you are caring for him. Just in the, say for example, the feeling of happiness, the feeling of anger, the feeling of sadness, interest, curiosity, hurt, annoyance, anxiety, embarrassment, pleasure, and hope are all being denoted by your non-verbal gestures. Say for example, you're happy for something, the kind of a feeling, the kind of shine in your eyes, the kind of glow at your face automatically denotes that you, say for example, if you have won a particular race and your parents have told you that you will be getting a very nice car for that particular price of yours. So the kind of happiness the moment you see that your the keys of your car is actually going to create a non-verbal cue and is going to show that you are really very happy. In a similar manner, when someone says anything ill words to you, your face turn red. Automatically turning red of your face is going to denote that you are very, very angry. Curiosity, hurting, annoyance are all the part and parcel to convey your non-verbal communicational aspects and convey your emotional content as well. Proper interpretation. Interpretation of non-verbal gestures is of utmost importance, and at times it becomes very easy to actually understand what the particular person wants. But for that, you need to have a proper eye contact. Now, I have been teaching this subject for the last 6 to 7 years. So I know the actual way or the actual mechanism of how to understand the people. But for you as an individual or you as a student, it requires lots and lots of practice. How you will do? You'll first need to look into the eyes of the person. Remember, students, that in order to be much more applicable and in order to actually rule the world, you need to look into the eyes of the person and confidently speak to him. You need to just brush up your icebergs and all. That I'm not going to talk to this particular person just because he or she belongs to a particular different gender. Or say for example, the boys do not talk to the girls and the girls do not talk to the boys if you are having kind of a ego problem and all. So you are not going to do these things, because in a professional world of communication, proper interpretation can only be happen when you actually are going to look into the eyes of the other person and communicate. And for that, you need to understand its proper interpretation, because the way you are going to interpret the things, the way you're going to interpret or comprehend the things are going to make you easily understand that what the particular person is saying to you. Similarly, proper interpretation means at times what happens that you get misguided or you get carried away. Say, for example, a particular friend of yours is sitting, he comes to a particular class and he keeps his bag or keeps her bag onto the table, sits quietly, and that means that he's not behaving in a natural way as he used to do. So you need to interpret this thing that some problem is there. Now, in such a situation, if you're going to say if you're going to say any of the word, any of the hard words or any of the soft words, he may or she may counter react upon your words. So you need to give him time to actually console down or to melt down to the proper genre. So you need to interpret by your non-verbal communication, because actually his or her body is communicating something to you. You need to understand it, you need to interpret it very well. And non-verbal communication is going to tell you the things, provided you actually see to it. Instinctive nature. Now, most of the people, it is generally said that girls or ladies have a very good instinctive power. That means their instincts are very strong than males or men's. Because the thing is that the sixth sense of ladies are far more stronger, and that's why though still they are considered to be the weaker section, but they have a very strong instinctive skills in them, and this is for this reason they are superseding in society. So what is happening, let's come back to the point and not discuss these things. Instinctive nature is basically you are creating the instinct in you. Non-verbal communication creates an instinct in you. It creates an instinct of truthfulness to actually manage the conflict. Because at times what happens is that if you know that two parties are too much too aggrieved, they can never come on a particular conclusion. So your instinct says that if you do this type of gesture or commit any kind of gesture like that, maybe chances will be that the instinct works. Because at times the gut feeling or your instinct power automatically tries to convince you that this should be the answer of the question or this should be the answer of the conflict. Say, for example, you do not know the answer of any particular question, but your instinct tells you that the answer to this particular question can be A or B. So C and D are totally being negated. Now, out of A and B, you need to choose the right and the most appropriate one. So, for that, you need to calm down your senses, relax, and think that what could be the possible answer for that. So, your instincts have to be strong enough, and non-verbal communication is going to play a major role in creating your instincts. Workplace efficiency. Workplace efficiency, that means in non-verbal communication, your teachers, the journalists, lawyers, doctors, or any of the people or of any type or of any, say, you can say, of any work culture, they, uh, the work of those people become much more efficient by your non-verbal gestures. Say, for example, just looking at the eyes of your boss, you could easily make out that the chances of getting some kind of dose or some kind of scolding is there. So you automatically change your behavior. The workplace efficiency means the efficiency of the business or the efficiency of the work culture can be denoted with the help of your non-verbal cues and with your non-verbal gestures. Understanding. Non-verbal communication is very helpful in creating your understanding applicability. Now, what is happening that understanding, how understanding is being improved? Say, for example, When you are a little baby, you cry. You cry, and the moment you cry, you get your thing. Now, as a baby, you have realized that yes, I that when I am crying, I am getting a bottle of milk, and then you use it as a pattern of your communication, just to denote that yes, this is a time of mine. Start crying, and I'll get the thing. But no sooner you attain the age of, say, your adolescence, then you cannot say that I cry and I must get thing. No, for that you need to develop an understanding that when the situation arises of your hunger or anything, you need to communicate or you need to ask for food. You cannot cry and say that I want milk now. You need to do it yourself, or you can just ask for it. So basically, your understanding from childhood to your adolescence has increased just because of your non-verbal cues or your non-verbal communications. Then repetition, non-verbal communication are of very much importance because they're going to create non-verbal gestures. They put emphasis and reinforcement to the things that are being said. When you are angry, when your body language shows it, then the person who is being scolded needs to feel afraid. If the body language is different, then the scolding won't work. Now, repetition means that non-verbal cues or non-verbal gesture are important because it put emphasis upon what is being said. Say, for example, if you are scolding someone, when and as you become, let's say for example in this cartoon itself, this particular person is scolding or this particular person is creating his anger, so the other person is showing a completely different behavior. Now why he's doing so? Either he is too much too reluctant towards this particular person, or this is a regular habit of it. Now believe me, students, that if you are doing a particular thing regularly, say for example, getting angry on small issues or on small things, people won't take you for a serious behavior. They take you for granted that yes, he is always angry and let's not talk about him. So, this is a kind of behavior which this particular person is doing towards this person. So, actually, when you are showing your anger, do not uh, turn your face red, do not raise your voice. You just need to, the best way to show an anger is stop talking. And this is generally being done by the sophisticated culture of your business and all. When you do not feel comfortable, you just move out of the situation and you just stop talking to the person. So what will happen, that automatically he or she will think that yes, something or other has been done in a wrong way. Contradiction. Non-verbal signals can be contradictory to those is being said at those times. Non-verbal signals are true mostly. For instance, when you ask someone and he or she says that they are fine, but they are crying and having a sad expression. Contradiction of verbal and non-verbal communication at times is important for the emotion people to be involved in. So, next importance of non-verbal communication is that you will be able to get to know that exactly how the person is feeling. Say, for example, a person is crying, and when you just approach to him or her, he or she says, I'm okay, and wipes the tears. Now, what he or she is saying and what he or she is doing. There is a contradiction between the two things. Now, your non-verbal communication is going to tell you that there is some problem, there is some kind of a behavior, there is some kind of an thing that is hindering or troubling the particular person. So, exactly what you need to do is you need to give that particular person, like I have given you the example previously, also, you need to Give that particular person time enough so that he or she can be able to communicate with you in a much more lighter manner. And non-verbal communication is really going to help you in understanding the contradiction behavior of of the two people, because at times what is happening, the verbal ability of a human being and the body language of a human being, or of a person, is totally different. Substitution. Many a times non-verbal communication takes place. Instead, sometimes silence also communicates better than words, and it is a contextual thing. Traffic signals making the people the things without the words. Similarly, the signals in the game also denote the different signs which are established and everybody understand it. Now, substitution. Say for example, you have you are a bowler, and you make your run up and you throw a ball, and the ball hits the pad of your batsman. You appeal to the umpire. He says nothing but raise the finger. Just by raising the finger, he is indicating that the batsman is out. He's not actually communicating anything, but he is communicating by the non-verbal cues that you are out. Similarly, those traffic signals, those red, yellow, and green light, when flashes, automatically signals you that now is the time to move on and now is the time to stop. So basically, your non-verbal cue communication at times, it's not a thing that silence do not communicate anything. Like in the previous lectures of mine, I have told you that silence is also a method of communication. When you are silent, you're communicating a lot by your body language, your way of sitting, your gestures. Say, for example, if you're sitting cross legs, you're sitting with your hand clasped together, or you're sitting with your elbows tight. This all denote that you have a sense of security or sense of a kind of an apathy in you. There's something bothering you and all. So this is actually non-verbal communication actually trying to tell you. Non-verbal communication is totally non-verbal. That means you are not uttering any word, but just by your silence. Just give you the example of cricket. Just by his silence and denoting a finger raise, he is telling that the batsman is out. So non-verbal communication is very much important for substitution effect also. Now, what are some of the advantages of non-verbal communication? Non-verbal communication are complementary. Non-verbal communication complement verbal communication by adding meaning to it. Now, non-verbal communication are complementary in nature. That means that you are not doing anything. You are not saying anything, but by your body language, by the color you wear, by the things you carry, by the way you talk, by the way you communicate with your body language and all, the gesture which you make, the faces, frowns and all, they automatically they automatically complement, not compel, they complement your verbal cues or verbal language. Next is, it is an easy presentation manner. You do not want to talk. You do not want to say anything to anyone. You just want to show that I am least bothered about what is happening. You just say this, or you just make your elbows tight and sit in a relaxed position. So you are actually presenting yourself. You are actually presenting your views in a non-verbal manner, not saying anything, not uttering anything. Just by your silent behavior, you are communicating things to your people. Substituting. Non-verbal communication or message substitutes the verbal communication, especially when it is blocked by noise or interruption or long distance. Say, for example, There is a continuous harping of a particular horn outside the class of yours, and you are listening a lecture of your teacher. Now, what the teacher will do? Teacher will use the hand gesture, it will use the facial expressions, it will use the non-verbal communication to actually tell you what he or she is trying to communicate. So over here, the language is totally being substituted by your non-verbal gestures. Accenting, often used as an accent to verbal communication. Verbal tone indicates the actual meaning of specific words. Assenting means it gives a kind of a beautification to your verbal language. Just uttering. Say, for example, if I just go on sit in a straight position and just try to communicate with you all in a straight manner, so you won't be able to actually grasp the thing which I want to communicate to you. By using my hands, by using my facial expressions, by using my tone quality, I am actually trying to make my words look much more beautiful to you so that any of the word can get into your mind and you can actually relate with your points. Repeat. Non-verbal communication are used to repeat your verbal language. Say, for example, have you understood the things? So you will say yes or you will say no. So what I am telling you, I am making a nod of my face or I am making a nod of my face in a manner to tell you that what you need to give me a feedback form or how you're going to give me a feedback. So this repetitive thoughts or repetitive feelings is going to tell you about your nonverbal gestures. Help to illustrate, help to illiterate people. Yes, to the illiterate people is a boon. It's a boon to the illiterate people because illiterate people do not know the language, they do not know the accent, they do not know the language quality or the verbal quality. But they know pictures, they know colors, they know the interpretation of body language, they can understand your faces, your frowns. So, what they are doing, you are actually contacting them using the proximity, using the eye contact, touching behavior, and all, so that you will be able to make them understand things in a much more logical sequences. Next, help to the handicapped people. Yes, non-verbal communication, like you can see in your say the news in the afternoon for the handicapped people who are deaf and dumb. They use the movement of hands, they use the movement of their eyeballs, fingers, and all to actually communicate what they need to tell you in at large. Because those people who are not able to talk or they are not able to listen, they are just going to look towards the facial expressions, towards the finger movements, towards the eyeball movements, so that they can actually deliver the best of it and they can understand the thoughts. Attractive presentation, I've already told you that it adds to the beauty of the presentation quality. Pictures, graphs, signs, visuals. These are going to beautify your presentation. Just by giving, say why I have used these cartoons over here. I have used these cartoons because they are giving a kind of a pictorial representation of what actually I am going to try to say. So in reality, it's going to make the things much more attractive. It reduces wastage of time. Lots and lots of time wastage can be eradicated by your non-verbal gestures. And non-verbal gestures are very much helpful in reducing the wastage of your time. Quick expression of the message. Message what you are communicating. Message which you are delivering. Quick expressions can be made out of it. Now, just like there are two sides of every coin, in the similar manner, nonverbal communication also has some disadvantages. It's vague and imprecise. Now, say for example, you do not know how to train a dog, but you bought a dog from the dog house and you are now training him. You ask him to sit down and you beat the ground with the stick. Now, He is not understanding your thing. For him, your language, and for you, his interpretation are totally vague. They are totally imprecise. And for that, you need to have lots and lots of patience. And my dear students, it's a really a big issue because non-verbal communication, for everything there is a different language. Say for example, showing your finger to any of the Indian, or you are taunting towards someone or pointing towards someone, and in India it is just taken as a kind of a thing that you have pointed a particular thing or you have pointed a particular person. But in the alien countries, if you don't or you point someone, it is really taken very offensive, and that too they consider it is so offensive that they communicate and take the matter to a very high officials and all. So it's vague. It's completely vague and imprecise. Continuous. Non-verbal communication. There's a continuous nature of non-verbal communication. Like verbal communication, you can change and you can interpret. You can make the things. But in the non-verbal communication, the kind of a continuous behavior develops. This means that although spoken language is a structure in nature, and it beautifies and get beautifies by the non-verbal communication, but still the continuous behavior or the Sisyphean behavior, which is never-ending behavior of your non-verbal communication, it makes it much more dicey and complicated to understand. Multi-channel. There are numerous way. There are numerous and n number of ways to communicate the thing non-verbally. Cultural bond. Now, like I have told you, that for every culture there is a different type of non-verbal gesture. Uh, in India, if you do namaste, you make both your hands bring together and clasp it together. But this type of thing, if you do in India, in the other countries, though just because of your pandemic and your COVID, this namaste behavior is being now prevalent in all the countries. But I'm talking beforehand of things. There is a cultural there's a cultural disparity between the people or the people of India or the people of US and all. So the manner or the behavior non-verbal cues deliver to each other. There is a cultural boundedness that they have to do this thing only. A Japanese will bow to you towards you, or a Japanese will give his visiting card to you. For them, transfer of visiting card is the mode of exchanging the words. But in India, if someone gives you your visiting card, it is considered that you are asking for any kind of help and all. But in Japan and all, they do not take it for granted. They take it as kind of a non-verbal gesture and in a very good professional mannerisms. Long conversation cannot be possible by the use of non-verbal gesture. If you want to present a report, how will you present a report in a non-verbal gesture? So for that, you need to communicate, you need to express your views, you need to express your thoughts in a logical manner, and that too in a proper manner. Uh, like I have said, it is very difficult to understand also, and not everybody prefers it. Now, say for example, in this particular cartoon itself, Institute for Non-Verbal Communication. Now, had it been there, such kind of institute would have been there. So, thing would have been different. But in reality, these institutes are not so much so prevalent. So, everybody do not prefer this kind of non-verbal gesture, or most of us say that non-verbal gesture are basically going to communicate a lot, and not everyone likes it. Though it adds to the beauty, but not everyone likes it. Lack formality. Yes. Like you can see in the diagram itself, The boss is saying that I have concluded my lecture of non-verbal communication. Do you have any kind of comments? People are making faces, they are making playing with them, and half of them are asleep. So, this kind of formal behavior, if you expect in a non-verbal communication, the formal behavior, no, formal gesture is not practically possible in your non-verbal communication. Though by your artifacts, though by your gestures, though by your colors, by your body language, you can communicate formal behavior. But the sense of formalness, the sense of behavior, like you are wearing a very sophisticated suit. The boss is wearing a very sophisticated suit, and you are conducting a sophisticated meeting. So, if you are doing, or if someone is asking on to present his or her views on non-verbal gesture, and you are doing these type of activities, it actually lacks formality, costly, at times it is costly, because PowerPoint presentations, your pictorial representations, your graphs and all, it requires lots and lots of cost. Distortion of information. Uh, since it is used in gestures, facial expressions, eye contact, touch, signs, sound, paralanguage, etc., communicating to, they have a distortion of things. That means there can be different meaning of same non-verbal gesture. Like I've told you, pointing in India means something else, and pointing in India, pointing towards someone in the alien country, it means something else. So it is distorting the information of your non of your communication abilities. Let us now have a look at what are actually the uh, types of non-verbal gestures. The very first and the most interesting is your facial expressions. Now, making those n number of faces, like happy faces, sad, melancholy, moods, and all, they actually are, your face is a master of, you can say your face is a window of your soul. It actually communicates what is there in your soul itself. If you are sad, your face will become sullen face. If you are angry, it will become red. Skin tone, muscle, facial expressions, your things in a, your many of the things like that communicates a lot about your facial expressions. If talk about facial expressions in the later on, we can say that think for a moment about how much a person is able to communicate by facial expressions. A smile can indicate approval or happiness. A frown can signal disapproval and happiness. Now, uh, there are different meaning of different things. You have, say for example, you have worn a particular cloth, or you can say that you have worn something which is of interest to everyone. Say for example, you are wearing a yellow shirt and a red pant. Now, just by looking at you, you are wearing a yellow shirt and a red pant. So, just by looking at you, people will smile. Now, this doesn't mean that they are appreciating. There might be people who are actually laughing at you, but they are just smiling at you. But in a similar manner, when you are, the smile can denote various of things. Like you can say that I have told you that it indicates happiness, and it indicates the approval. But at times the smile is also skeptical, like the smile of Mona Lisa. People are still not aware that what actually Mona Lisa is smiling at, or what are the things which is actually skeptical about this smile. Similarly, your sadness, your surprise, your disgust, your confusion, your excitement, your desire, your contempt towards something is going to be told to you by your facial expressions. Your facial expression, your face communicates each and everything which is there in your soul, which is there in your people, and communicate it at large. Gestures. What are gestures? Gestures are the physical non-verbal communication. Using your hands, using your face, using your body parts to communicate something are the part of your gesture. You can see in the diagram itself, in few of the pictures, the particular boy is placing his hand into his pocket, and in few pictures, this particular boy is hanging out its tongue. And in one of the picture, he's very angry, and in one of the picture, he's very sad. So all these things, when your hands, when your legs, when the parts of your body uh, combine together or combine together to make up a communicational aspect, it is called as a gesture. Gestural theory has been given by Abbe de Collet and has been given in by Gordon W. Hewis in the year 1973 as a part of discussion of the origin of language. Now, these people, Gordon D. Hewis and Abbe de Collet, what they have done is they have said that the origin of language is because of gestures only. The gestures communicates a lot to the people. The gestures communicate a lot to the human beings. And uh, primitive era, if you just talk about the primitive era, the sounds which they make, the gestures which they make, the behavior aspect which they make are all being done in combination with their body language, with their hands, with their eyes, and with the other parts of the body. So when all the other parts of body communicate together, they form a kind of a gesture. Gestures can also be subdivided and then can be segregated into two parts, its emblems and its iconic gestures. Emblem are specific gestures, say for example the sign of victory. The moment you show the sign of victory to someone, or just you, for example, you are holding your hands and just by showing this victory sign, this automatically means that you have won something. So this is basically an emblem. Just by raising your hands and doing this, it means you are actually waving off, you are actually signing off. Iconic gestures. Iconic gestures are the illustrators that are closely related to the speech and are said by paintings and painting on the hands. For example, when person illustrate by physical item and using the hands and all. Metamorphic gestures are the concept that is being explained in the three-dimensional approaches. Regulators as control in turnkey taking conversations, affect displays are all the parts of your gestures and all. Beat gestures. Beat gestures are rhythmic beating with the fingers or with your hands. Now, I think that you won't be able to actually make out that what exactly is this particular topic or this particular gesture aspect. So let's quickly have a look at it. That what exactly is metamorphic gesture? Gesture are having the three-dimensional space with waving of your hands and all. Regulators that regulates your gesture or add to this beauty effect that actually affects the particular person. Paralinguistics. Paralinguistics are considered to be the loudness, the inflection, the pitch of the thing. Vocal characteristics are all the part and parcel of a paralinguistic features. Excuse me. Now, this also is a gesture. Vocalic characteristics and vocalic inferences. Body language by your postures, by your arm postures, by your leg crossing and all your body language communicational abilities. Postures, like you can see in this particular diagram of yours, you can also see that this particular person is behaving in a form of body language which is not appropriate. Proxemics. Now, proxemics is basically the kind of a personal space being created by the people. Types. intimate space, or you can say it's an intimate space of 0 to 2 feet, personal space 2 to 4 feet, social distance and public distance and all. Eye gaze, you gaze at someone. Gazing and looking are two different things, students. When you are actually gazing at some, I think that the lecture is quite a big now, but because it's a very important topic, so I'm taking much more time in it. Sorry for that. So basically, eye gaze is about the gazing factors. You gaze and look towards someone. Hepatics is the touch behavior. Remember, students, it is one of the most important thing of your non-verbal gesture. When you touch someone, touch with a feeling. Do not touch someone with a kind of an intention. Shaking hands is something or something else, and making a tight grip onto your hands. When you are shaking a hand, make a clear shake. Do not tighten it up, because the moment you tighten it up, it becomes something else. Appearances, like your appearances, it's also kind of a non-verbal gestures. Artifacts means the, say for example, the uniform of a particular army person, the uniform of people, the uniform of police is automatically going to denote that he or she is from a particular profession or not. So what we have done non-verbal communication, importance of non-verbal communication, advantages and disadvantages, and the types of non-verbal communication. I know that the lecture has become a little bit lengthy, but since non-verbal communication is of utmost importance, is going to be you can apply it. You can really apply this particular non-verbal communication. So we all bring to an end to this particular presentation, and to the best of my ability, I have tried to deliver the thoughts process of nonverbal communication. But still, if something I have missed and something which is not clear to you, you can consult it to me by writing a mail to me, or you can just come down to me during the class hours or during the lecture hours of your college and all, and you can just talk to me. Thank you.